Welcome back to Return to Evolution, where we're going through the legendary tutorials of Virtua Fighter 4 Evolution and seeing how we can apply them to Virtua Fighter 5 Ultimate Showdown. Today, Chapter 10, dealing with evades. Only two sections to this one, 10A, the drawback to evading, and 10B, attacking after a failed evade. 10A, the drawback to evading, recommended rank up to first dan. What it is. Here we're going to learn what it's like to be on the other side of the interaction, and learn how throws and half circulars can be used to shut down an evade attempt. Why it's important? Let's just stop for a moment and think about what we're learning here. This game has spent the past 2 chapters and 7 exercises teaching you the benefits of evading, as well as when and how to do it. Now it wants to teach you all about shutting it down. It teaches you these concepts in this order for 2 reasons. The first one is that with most techniques it wants you to learn the defensive application first and the offensive application second. And secondly, the game is fully aware that the evade technique you just learned will take you to the next stopping point. Perhaps you were struggling in the lower queues without evades, but once you knew them, you were able to take bigger risks without getting hurt for it. You could also get out of block strings, recover the advantage, and ultimately progress to the next level. Now that you're at that next level, you look around you and you notice that everyone, just like you, can evade your punish when you block their elbow. So now that you're at that point, teaching you how to shut down the very thing that got you to where you are is a clear next step in your progression. You and the people around you have amassed roughly the same skills, and your awareness and response to that is the way forward. This is one of the purest essences of what it means to play fighting games competitively, captured in an exercise halfway into a mostly forgotten about tutorial for a PS2 game. And it's this very kind of thought process and format that makes it so special. How it teaches you. Here it wants you to block a very familiar dash elbow from Akira, and then stop the evade by either doing a half spin and attack or by doing a throw. The half spin and attacks, as long as they go in the right direction, are guaranteed, whereas there's still a chance that they could get out of the throw with the throw escape. How to replicate it? Just like in Virtua Fighter 4, you can just record Akira doing a dash elbow here, followed by an evade in either direction, and stick a guard on the end of that immediately after the evade if you want to save some time in 10B. Now block that elbow and catch the evade with either your half circular or your throw. Much like when you were learning evades, you're going to want to think about whether you need an attack that attacks to your front or to your back. Notice how Jackie's foot position actually changes with one of these half circular attacks too, so make sure you're comfortable doing half circular punishes with either foot forward. It takes practice, but the better you know your character, the more natural this becomes. And 10B, attacking after a failed evade, recommended rank first dan or above. 10B is a great demonstration of how a linear attack can still be used to shut down an evade if you know what you're doing. As we know, an evade can be successful or it can fail, and forcing an evade to fail is a valid strategy for when you want to hit the opponent with a linear attack, like a launcher. It also very briefly mentions crouch dash cancelling evades in the text here, but more on that in another chapter. Why it's important? A failed evade offers a pretty big window to attack the opponent, and it also means you don't have to worry about guessing the direction they've evaded in. It's worth noting that the recommended rank here is higher than the previous exercise. That's not necessarily because it's a trickier execution, although it is. It's more likely because not offering a punish on a blocked attack so that you can opt for something bigger is a higher risk strategy. It really requires you to know the opponent, because if you block their attack and they don't evade, you've surrendered an opportunity at best, and at worst, have just been thrown or put into a worse situation because of it. So use this sparingly and only when you identify the player regularly evading. How it teaches you? Pretty much the same as last time in 10A, only this time you want to let them evade, and then during the failed evade animation, counterattack with a linear attack of your own. How to replicate it? Record the same activity as before with an elbow attack, followed by an evade, only this time make sure you guard at the end of it. Now block their attack and follow up with a linear punish, like a jab or an elbow of your own. If they evade successfully, then you're responding too soon, and if they block the punish, then you're too late. You want the opponent to be in a state where they've already started moving sideways when you start to attack, so the game has already registered it as a failed evade, but not so late that they're able to recover and guard. Like I say, this one can really take some practice to land in dojo mode, and even more awareness to land against a real opponent. So focus on 10A first here. And now we're nearly halfway through the beginner sections. Hopefully with this chapter you're starting to see what sets this apart from other tutorials. It's more than learning some controls and mechanics. And on that, I'll see you next week for another.